Three.
From Israel, it's John's Place Live. With us tonight, excuse me, I can't talk with this thing on my face.
Exactly.
With us tonight, we have Mr. Paul Wiener, chairperson of the Likud Anglo Division, and another member of the Likud Anglo Division hierarchy, Mr. David Wiener. David, say hi to everybody. If they don't know you, they probably know you from the page, from the site, from your interviews, from whatever else. This is a new format for us tonight, folks, ladies and gentlemen. We've never, first of all, had a show with three people. And second, we've never really done a show via the Zoom. Is this Zoom? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Zoom. Very good stock to buy.
Very good stock to buy. Okay. So let's get on to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, there are two main concerns that are going on in Israel and around the world. The China virus, and of course, the election cycle in Israel once again. The amazing thing, and I'm going to ask you guys for your opinions, the amazing thing is the longer and the broader the Chinese virus gets, the less and less Israelis really care anymore about politicians, maybe all politicians, but it's no longer really their concern because the media has 20 times the coverage on the virus than on the politics, one. And two, I think people have finally hit that breaking point with all the political bickering. What do you guys think? Paul?
Well, it looked good that Gantz was going to join, but that one guy with the monkey wrench, Yair Lapid, is trying to cause a lot of problems in the formation of this coalition between Gantz and.
That sounds a little outdated, no, David? Doesn't that sound outdated? That Lapid's already gone. They broke him up.
The point is, he's supposed to be gone, but he's now trying to convince Benny Gantz as the Speaker of the Knesset to put on the agenda next week a bill that will make it so Bibi cannot become prime minister, to put pressure on him to join the coalition under the terms of Benny Gantz, which is really going to try to be Yair Lapid, and it's causing troubles. We don't have a coalition. They said we'd have one this week. We don't. And from what I understand, there's not a lot of big points. It's just squabbling over little points, and with Yair Lapid with the monkey wrench all the time, yang, because he wants to be whatever.
David?
I think what's going on is that I think pardon my French, even though I won't use it, but I think Gantz is scared out of his tachad. He's like scared crapless, meaning that he's seeing I didn't want to use the French. He was scared. He was scared seamless, as in China-less. And basically, I think what's going on is that he realized after this whole pandemic started happening, I think the reason why he went to the coalition or to try to form a coalition was because he realized I would have to do this if I was the prime minister. I wouldn't be able to handle all this crap. Now I went out. That's why he broke up blue and white. That's why he kind of went and said that he wanted to join a coalition with Netanyahu. I think he was just scared. I don't think he has the guts or the will or the actual know-how to actually run a government in such a insane crisis. He thought, the economy is great, nothing's going to happen, and I'm not going to have to worry about anything. Now all of a sudden I have to worry about stuff.
In reference to what you say, I think there's a lot of that involved, but throughout all the elections, Gantz didn't look like someone who really wanted the job as prime minister, which obviously made him seem like he wasn't fit to be prime minister. But this time around, I believe that he felt that if they ever went to a fourth election, there would be no problem with the Likud and the right getting at least 65 seats, okay? Because he promised something that the center flank of his combined party would never have tolerated if he said he was going to do a minority government with the Arab parties. That pissed off a lot of people. So I think that was another impetus for him to get off his high horse. Plus, it was an opportunity for him finally to say, I've had enough of Yair Lapid, and the public is perceiving me as a joke, as a puppet that whose strings are being pulled by Yair Lapid, and no longer would he be presumed someone who could be prime minister of the state of Israel, especially in these trying times.
Statistics show that 50% of the voters for blue and white were against the Arabs joining a coalition. So he could lose up to 50% of the vote in the next election.
Well, at least 20, let's say, or 30 would be
whatever, but enough that Bibi and Likud be able to form our own government.
Okay, so David, let me ask you this question. That's my first time in a very long time. The tie-up between the blue and white, what are some of the main issues that the coalition negotiations are facing? I mean, this word on the street.
Right, so I think if you actually saw the news, actually saw the news in the past, I don't know, half hour or so. I think they kind of gave in. They're giving in. What the biggest
Who
issue
is giving in?
What the biggest issue was for the blue and white, they wanted the justice ministry.
So they're not getting that.
No, that's what I'm saying. It looks like the Likud is giving into
giving into that.
That's what it seems like.
They're giving in everything. What's
which is kind of like it's kind of saying,
we can have a socialist communist running.
To us, okay, I'll give it to you. I don't know, it's kind of a strange thing. To give them the justice ministry is just insane, because the justice ministry is the one that's been causing all the problems in Israel.
Now, could anyone say that the future of the Likud in some way may lose some of their voters based on some of these negotiations we've seen with blue and white, that, they're getting 12 ministers on 15 Knesset members, whereby Likud is getting 12 or 15 ministers based on 58 seats on the right. So how is that going to be perceived by members of the right-wing voters? Anybody answer? Fight.
Well, I think that
first one to answer.
I think sooner or later, a lot of the people that didn't join the coalition right away will join the coalition, and that Gantz is going to have to give up some of those seats to some of those people to satisfy them when they come aboard. I think that the next election will not be anything like an election we've seen in Israel before. There's going to be a lot of changes, because I think the people are tired the way politics has been moving, especially the interference of the Supreme Court. How can the Supreme Court come in and decide decisions about the government? There has to be a separation. There was a case that somebody.
Sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but
Okay.
Mr. David Weiner told us that they are going to let the blue and white have the justice ministry, and Nissenkorn is the one who's been pushed the head of the communist labor movement, the Histadrut. He's
You're
the
right.
one.
But he is in Yesh Atid. He's not in Gantz's party. And they already came to the conclusion they will not take anybody from the outside. So something isn't settled yet, in my opinion.
No, it's not settled yet. They're not 100% settled, but I think that was the biggest thing, was the justice ministry. From what I see, they said they're going to get the justice ministry. Likud is going to get the what Gilad Erdan has, the internal ministry or internal security.
What I understand was the main problem is the annexation of parts of the Judea and Samaria by Israel.
Yes.
And that is the biggest. I heard that was the biggest stumbling block. Now,
But
people on the right, if Bibi goes too far to the left with Gantz, he's going to lose his coalition, his strong right coalition of 58. Because they're not going to just sit out there like a bunch of jackasses, and it's going to make the Likud, like you said, John, look very weak.
I suggest they just try to form a 2-year government, because we all know there is no chance for the 3 years. Make it 2 years, 1 year this one, 1 year that one. Tell whoever you appoint as ministers, this is how many ministers we have. Why doesn't the government have to ever tighten their belt? Is anyone on Chufsha, B'li Tashlum? Is anyone on unpaid vacation leave in the government? Are the ministers having a cut
I think the
in
only
their
one that
pay?
you can count for that is near Barkat. It only gets like a 1 shekel a month or something.
He
What do you
gets
mean?
one shekel a year. He
One
told me.
shekel a year. Yeah.
1 shekel a year. Yeah, where is anybody else giving into any of this? What are they showing the public for a piece of support that they are supporting the people who are suffering from check to check, who will not have food for Pesach? Okay. What are they doing? They're still, and they haven't worked in over a year. How does that happen? It's like in America when they all want Obamacare, except for the people in the Senate and the Congress. They didn't need Obamacare. You know what? Tighten your belt. 31 ministers when we're in an emergency government? Do you need a minister of chemical affairs? Do you need 10 water departments?
You need a minister of the Kinneret, the way that the
Oh,
water is filling up in the Kinneret. You need a minister for that, for sure.
Mhm.
These are
Well,
things.
I think we have to wait and see how long this coronavirus lasts. Because,
Yeah,
I mean, I have people around the world that I talk with, and people say they don't have any food. They can't get food.
Right, so that's one thing you have to say about Israel. I mean, in
Thank
Israel,
you.
I think the
Yes.
supplies are phenomenal. You don't have any toilet paper shortages. You don't have any food shortages. The only thing we really have is egg shortages. Which,
But that will be solved soon.
Hey, wait, I have plenty of eggs. I was at the supermarket yesterday. They were rolling in crates and crates of eggs yesterday.
Yes, baby.
My shelves are filled with eggs.
you gotta say something about the government here. I mean, we
No.
produce. I think what I read.
Because-
We produce 85% of all the stuff that we buy in the groceries is produced in Israel. 85%, which is incredible. If you look in America, it's probably something like 50%. If you look in China, it's something like 5% or something crazy like that. But here we produce almost everything that we take in, and that's why we don't have those shortages, because we have the factories, we have we have it. So which is
By
good.
the way, we don't have to thank the government for everything. Let's thank
Not
the
about the
people
government.
of Israel.
It's about the people.
Thank the
It's
people
about
of Israel who are doing the producing, who are on the front lines of every cause. The politicians walk around patting themselves on the back, but without the soldiers in the public and around, not the physical soldiers, the people of this country who are out there every day doing their best, we should commend them. I mean,
Right,
if you look at the rate
what was
of
the CEO of
deaths
Medtronic?
from sickness, it's unbelievable.
It's like
Thank
the CEO of Medtronic, who just released their patents on the ventilators, so that way every company in the world can now take it and make it. Why? Because this is Israel. What we care about is to be a light upon the nations, and we want to give. We don't want to take. He's not
I
asking.
must say one thing though.
Leasing.
Benjamin Netanyahu in this situation has
BDS
been a great leader, taking care of everything and everybody, and I wish him well because he's under quarantine now, along with other major figures in the administration, and the ones that are working with this virus. And I think they've done a great job up to now. Benjamin Netanyahu and all the other people that are working with him to make this a livable and healthy situation.
I call on the BDS to send out their notices to all their followers and all their believers. When the cure comes, and if a person in Israel has anything to do with it, which they probably will, we expect you to boycott any breakthrough that Israel has in fighting the coronavirus. As it is, Teva, an Israeli multinational company, has given out I don't know how many tens of millions of tablets of that malaria fighting. Yes, I don't know the name. Okay, I hope the people affiliated with the BDS are not getting any of these, because we don't want, God forbid, something to happen to them by taking.
Right. Also, the ventilators now. I mean, every ventilator in the world is going to be using Israeli patents. They can't.
You know what? If they do come up with a cure, I think that cure should be produced in Judea and Samaria and distributed to the rest of the world.
I like that.
Sounds
Maybe the
good to me.
companies that are involved are there. I mean, you don't have to specially locate.
If they want a cure, they have a cure. If they don't want to, if they're more important to BDS, then they can, face the consequences of their own actions.
All right, let's sum it up. Our first trio show. David, what do you look forward in a couple of weeks to come? Pesach is upon us. How are we going to get through it? How are we going to deal with it? Smaller seders, please.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a different year because usually we go to a friend's house for the Seder. And I think I've been home now for almost a month with 3 kids under the age of 4 for a month. It's not an easy thing. But actually, you know what? I think I look forward to staying home more. Thank God that we have technology like Zoom and different things like that I can actually work from home constantly and also spend time with the family. I think it's something that people really need to, I think, take advantage of, is the fact that it's something that, I know I read that the violence, domestic violence has increased across the world and everything like this, which is, I think people really need to take a step back. I hope that what happens in the next couple of weeks is people will take a step back and they'll look deep into their hearts, into their souls, and into their lives, and actually realize that, the important things that you have are actually right at home. And if you can't handle being at home, then obviously you have some things to change in your life. If you can't handle being at home with your wife or husband or your kids and things like that, you really, really have to, look at your life and try to understand why am I like that? And really, I think it's an important thing that, maybe this is the whole reason why this is spreading across the world. Kind of give us a reality check.
Trying to get in. I see that he's nodding his head and bouncing around.
I think it's a reality check to show us, get out of your illusion and jump into the real world.
Very good. Chag Sameach. Paul?
Well, I agree with everything David said except for one thing. I'm here alone, so I'd like to, be more outside with other people and exercising and doing, other things, because it does get a little monotonous and boring being by yourself under quarantine.
Those are 2 flip sides of a full house, busy house.
Look, if I had my full house with kids and everything, it would be fine. But when you're alone, it's it's not the same.
Yeah, I invited him to come here, but it was too late. He couldn't come here already. Quarantine.
I'd just like to say, for all those in the world that thought their smartphone was everything they would ever need in life, that they can crawl into a hole underground and never come out and never have to be a human being, just need my smartphone, because for 23 hours a day, at least, people were connected to smartphones. So it's funny in reality what it comes down to now. People are missing their human contact. They may not want to admit to it. So we should look back in society, how we've come in the last 10, 15 years with the integration of electronics and all that media, social media and everything, and internet and every way of communicating with one another, machine via machine, without the emotion of looking at another human being and looking into someone's eyes and looking into a politician's eyes and going, are you telling me the truth, or is your word just a word, not like my word is my word, okay, like it used to be? These are things to reflect upon. And also, we should really start thinking about how much of the rat race, like David said, is so crucial, whereby attaining more and more materialistic things and having higher and higher portfolios can change in an instant, just like someone's life, God forbid, could be snuffed in an instant. So we must enjoy what we have around us and not judge by the toys we play with, but the people we hang out with. Chag Sameach to everybody. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, David. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And a Chag Sameach to everybody. And let's get through this. And I believe after the restrictions should start turning back a little bit. Thank you.
Chag Sameach, everybody.
Enjoy.